Denicol Lubricants are the proud general partner of the Belgian Grand Prix.
Williamson is 10 times the world champion. Bax and Stupilis, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Leeuwen certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable. Hello and welcome to all fans of Sidecarcross. We're back with a brand new season from the four corners of Europe. There's an awful lot ahead of us, and we'll be soaking up the culture as we go along, and we'll also be bringing you the very best action from the world of Sidecarcross along the way. But there's an old saying in this wonderful sport: when the gate drops, the talking stops.
Hi guys! This year we opened our season in Lommel, Denicol GP of Belgium. This is the home ground for defending champions Marvin van Leeuwen and Ben van den Boggaert. The weekend promised to be explosive because 45 teams had entered for a chance to fight for a spot at the gate. The weekend had a lot of ups and downs. Unfortunately, there was a crash on a qualifying day and Brett Wilkinson couldn't compete. We had our first woman to qualify, which was incredible. And the races themselves were amazing. A lot of action, a lot of fights for top spots. So stay tuned and see what happened.
The track in Lommel is known as one of the toughest around because of its unforgiving and bottomless sand. There are 14 Grand Prix and we are starting here in the north of Belgium, right on the Dutch border. This is the terrain of the sand specialists. So let's take a look and see what all the fuss is about on this 1600 metre track. They say the going is soft. Well, I think they're not kidding. It looks pretty soft to me. On board there to take a look at it, you can just see how much it's built up. It's used diggers actually push it into place, which makes the berms very, very deep as well. So the moment the bikes start racing on it, then it just digs up. It digs up. It doesn't matter how many times they push it together, it soon digs up with a sidecar outfit on it. It's challenging for the guys. They love it. It makes good racing. That's why the Belgians and the Dutch are so good. They race on this sort of going all the time. Marvin van Leeuwen and Ben van den Boggaert know that keeping their title won't be easy, but they're optimistic here.
Yeah, free practice went well. The track was still flat, so it will change during the weekend. But the feeling was immediately good and the speed was good, so we're happy about that. We are really looking forward to the races.
Carrying the number 10 plate, Arne Dierkens now with Robbie Bax is looking for a better season.
Yeah, the feeling in the warm-up was good, better than expected. Yeah, a lot has changed during the winter. A new passenger, like you said, a new mechanic also, new team truck. So we changed a lot, and also with my injury, it took a lot of time. But now I think we need to build during the season and hoping for better and better results during the weekends. And I'm hoping for the best for this weekend already. Yeah.
Group A qualifying got underway and it was a whole shot for Marvin van Leeuwenaar. Varick was in there as well, the number 7, but right round the outside, Etienne Bax, number 82, but van Leeuwenaar managed to get his nose in front. The conditions were already digging up after free practice, so everybody knew it was going to be a very tough weekend. Van Leeuwenaar was in front, riding really high and going well. Kops and Lambrecht, a local crew who probably won't be doing the whole series, but here on their own going, they're very, very strong indeed. Christoph Santemans and Stuart Brown were at it hammer and tongs. They both had good starts and that battle rage in the early stages. Brown and Chamberlain got better of them, and once they got the hammer down, they were away. Using the left-hand chair to good advantage, Brown made a move on the Belgian. Once he was through, he was away. Santemans was on home ground here, and he was eventually to repay the compliment, but not without a fight. Brown, reunited with his old passenger Josh Chamberlain, has lost nothing over the winter and was absolutely flying here. Santemans dug deep though and kept the pressure on. Etienne Bax and Casper Stubelis meanwhile had got the better of van Leeuwenaar, but the fight at the front was still very much on. This track is very close to Bax's home and he knows it very well, and this was a real battle at the head of the race. But van Leeuwenaar was staying calm and under control, just as he did all last season. He's not going to throw anything away in the first race of the season. He knows it's a long year. The young Belgian and his 4 times world champion passenger know that winning qualifying is not winning the GP. That'll come later, or maybe not. Bax and Stupelis were imperious in the tough conditions, and they were the cleanest pair out there. Well, in riding style and appearance, it has to be said. But they were certainly looking good to win Group A qualifying easily. In third place were the podium finishers here last year, Kurt Varick and Loris Dijders. The Latvian-Estonian duo seem to like it here, and both are very hard men. They're from that part of the world, let's face it. But closing fast were Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens, now powered by the Mega 2-stroke engine. Veldman has a wise head on young shoulders, and he was really, really going after Varick this time. Davy Sanders and the Finn Larry Kunis were also in the hunt, so Veldman needed to make the move, and fast. It was a battle all the way, but Veldman was sizing the man up, just waiting to pick his line. He did exactly that, chose his moment, and he was by them. Varick, though, was not about to give up. He kept on fighting. This would pay off because Veldman was eventually to hit trouble and drop out of the top 12 and into last chance. Bad luck for him. Almost strolling home at the front, Etienne Bax and Casper Stupilis were bang on form with a 20-second margin over the reigning world champions. This was a job well done and would give them first pick of the gate in the 2 Grand Prix races tomorrow. Van Lucena was in no hurry. He knew what he had to do and he'd done just that. Second place will be good enough for a very fine front row position. Bax then on top of the pile from Van Lucena. Varric, he did well. Sanders in there as well. Santermans, Stuart Brown finished 6th with his son Jake behind him. Magnificent family affair. And then a couple of locals. It's a wildcard entry for Kops and Lambretts ahead of Eddie Yannicka, Botour, the Hock Boys and Compilati, and another Briton, George Kinch.
Qualifying was good, and actually all day was good, and not only like what we did on the track, but team. You know, we have 2 extra people in the team, like Etienne yesterday say, and yeah, teamwork worked really good, and we just need to take the result, and that's what we did.
Group B qualifying got underway, and it was another flying start from Daniel Willemsen, who sped ahead in his new resplendent red, white and blue livery. They were all bunched up round the corner, but over the first jump there was a massive crash for Brett Wilkinson and Ryan Humphrey. Wilkinson, treated trackside, was then hospitalised with back injuries, but he issued a bulletin which said he would be back to fight again. The red flag brought about a restart. At the restart it was still Willemsen again who absolutely flew. Frank Mulder's a local man, having a one-off ride, probably won't do all the Grand Prix, but here in the sand he was a bit of a master. And of course we'd be looking for Kern Hermans to make it through. There was a tangle as some of the riders went into the fence. That meant they'd have to work all the way back up. Another big crash involved Gary Moulds and Steve Kerwin, so their day was over. In fact, their weekend was over as well. So the British contingent really suffering in the conditions here. The news, the latest news from the Brett Wilkinson camp is that he has some back injuries, but he's safely in hospital. He will be treated and will be back in business, and we all wish Brett well, of course, as I said earlier. Great scrap going on though. Arne Dierkens was making his way through the number 10. Arne Dierkens, now teamed up with Robbie Bax, was making a fist of it and was fighting tooth and nail with Frank Mulder, the number 72. Mulder then dropping back, so number 10, Dierkens, very, very strong. Another one of our young, talented riders. And although maybe his championship position last year didn't reflect his ability, teamed up with Robbie Bax, I think we can expect big things from young Arne Dierkens. At the front though, Willemsen was still galloping along in control, looking very, very strong indeed, but coming under a little bit of pressure, but not too much. Valentin Giraud as well in the mix. So these big names making the best of these sandy conditions. Giraud in his very bright new orange livery was there scrapping tooth and nail with Arne Dierkens. They were side by side at this point. Dierkens, and you can see only one line there, and the number 10 took it, but Giraud went on the inside, the number 4 in the fluorescent pink or pink orange, more orange than pink tops. And Arne Dierkens then had to settle for second best. Giraud, with this 22-year-old German passenger, Andres Haller, was on a charge and looking very, very good indeed. It bodes well for them. Dierkens appeared to be slowing, but Frank Mulder, the number 72, was right with him. At the front, though, Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang, his new French passenger for 2019, very much in control of Group B. But The former world champion, the 10 times world champion, suddenly had to look to his laurels, becomes the number 2 of Koen Hermans, and Nicolas Mousset were very much on his case. And it wasn't long before they were making Willemsen, possibly forcing him into 1 or 2 errors. The ruts here so very, very difficult, it was almost impossible to know which way to go. And Hermans got the better of the multiple champion and went ahead. Number 14, Gert van Verven and Peter Bunk, a local man, in 3rd place and going very well indeed. Again, Van Verven, another one of the Dutch sand specialists, and this was meat and drink to him, and they made it look not so easy, but he certainly made it look a lot more easy than some of the guys were having. With 4 minutes to go, the field had pretty much thinned out. We had Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset out in front. Willemsen was safe in 2nd place. Giraud was battling hard in 4th place, was to slip down the order slightly, but it was a very creditable result for the Frenchman and bodes well for his season and the 2 Grand Prix races coming up tomorrow. Into the closing stages, and I think those people who were in for a place on the grid tomorrow had pretty much achieved it already, so there was very little extra work to be done other than to finish the race in what are really exhausting conditions. Those of you out there who have been there will know exactly what I'm talking about. The 94 Kelly de Bruyne, a young Belgian lady, an absolutely outstanding achievement, brought it home in 12th place, so she qualified. What a result for a lady driver in these arduous conditions. Kelly de Bruyne then, a name we'll be hearing more of, but Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset took the B qualifying race by not quite a country mile, but it was a good one. Applause for everybody for Hermans' effort. And there you have it. Hermans confirmed. Daniel Willemsen it was in 2nd place. Van Verven, Giraud was 4th. Marco Heinze, Arne Dierkens, Robbie Bax. Mulders hung on well. He started well and he hung on well. That was a good achievement for him. All the way down, look at that, 12th place, Kelly de Bruyne, and Jens Mans, a very talented passenger, helped that young lady to 12th place. Good on you, Kelly. Well done.
Yeah, we feel really good. The restart was not so good start for us. We had to come back from place 5 or 6. But yeah, we fight hard and we have good lines. So yeah, the feeling is really good in the sand now.
Last chance was an absolute walk in the park for Julian Veldman, and so it should be. He was such a fast rider, and but for a mechanical problem, then he'd have been out in normal qualifying in any case. But it was a great result for Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens. Those two together last year teamed up for the first time, and he was absolutely dominant. The other guys in Last Chance could not hold a candle to him. But he would have to start from the 2nd row in the Sunday Grand Prix races. Julian Veldman used to having his share of misfortune. Last year it was mechanical. This time, don't think it was mechanical. I think he got crossed up on the ruts somewhere, which dropped him back to 13th, and therefore that's how he found himself in Last Chance. But he made no mistake earning his place on the grid, and it will be from a 2nd row start for Julian Veldman. So here's how they line up on the grid. Etienne Bax from Hermans, Van Lukener, Daniel Willemsen, that's the top 4. Kurt Varrick, Gert van Verven, Davy Sanders, Valentin Giraud, 8th then on the grid. 4th place, that'll do him well. Stuart Brown, he starts well. Arne Dierkens, Jake Brown gets a good start as well. Mulders, Kops, Koiben, Janek, Michael Hodges, good for Britain as well. Pavarov and the Swiss, 20th place, the Kush boys. It's going to be interesting. 2 rows going off here, and further down, Compilati, Ryman, George Kinge, another British qualifier. There's Kelly de Bruyne. She'll start 2nd row, 24th place. Veldman alongside her. Lagermatt, Reisner, Julian Veldhuis with Nicky de Bruyne and Wisselnik. Time for contemplation, time for meditation, time for preparation, and a lot of thought ahead of the 2 Grand Prix races tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, the goal is to be the world champion again. But everybody wants, so it's a lot of pressure is on our back, but it's the same for the other teams. So we're going to try to make a new good season, and we hope we have the number 1 again on the end of the season.
Yeah, very good. I think our feeling is very well. We had a good winter. We train a lot, and I think we are ready for it.
No, I may say that we had a good off-season. We get 2 extra people involved in our team, and I think it made it much easier for us through the winter, and we did a good winter training. So I feel actually quite prepared, and in compared to other years, we were still it was a big chaos in the beginning of season because much things to arrange still, and I think I have the feeling that we have made steps forward. That we have I was never a start king or something like that, so for me it was always difficult. But somehow, since our crash last year in Ukraine, we did not find the click with the bar, and we need to solve this problem. And we try it. We do our best. We have start gates. We do start analysis, but for this last few weeks it did not click, and we did practice on starts for 3 days again this week. So maybe we can find a solution in the next coming GPs, and hopefully that will solve the problem.
Yeah, the off-season was really good for us. The preparation was better than the year before. The condition and everything is a lot better now. The feeling on the bike is also a lot better. Now we have only to make the best of it.
All the races were top 10 in the World Championship were present on the first races, so we did it good. We are leading now the Dutch Championship. We win a race. We are all the races on the podium. So doing good, feeling strong, and looking forward to this first GP.
After almost 10 years on the 4-stroke engine, this year we switched for a 2-stroke engine from Mega Factory. It's complete new things for me. We know 2-stroke is a little bit different, and when you come from the 4-stroke to the 2-stroke engine, you need some practice to learn the engine and learn how works the engine.
Race day ahead of these 2 Grand Prix races, dawn beautifully sunny and warm. Good crowd, a lot of expectation in the air, and the riders were up for it, you could tell. A lot of tension, this the first Grand Prix of 2019 season. Julian Veldman has been on a mission. We caught up with him.
Start was also not the best one. I think we got nearly last, but after a few laps you got back to 3rd place, and the lap times were good, the fast, and then the last lap, there was nothing to get anymore, so did the normal lap, not the fast, and then I got over the handlebars and the bike stopped and I couldn't get it down anymore. So was not the best one. Yeah, last year we also got from the 2nd row. And the crash with the start last year, so we got last and got back to a 4th place. So I think we can do that again.
Great atmosphere, last minute, attention to detail, all that nervous preparation. Are your gloves right? Are your boots right? Psychological bending and stretching, just to make sure your head is in the right place. Bit of gardening. Does it matter in this sand? I doubt if it did. "30 minutes plus 2 laps, lay ahead of these guys, and when the gate dropped, it was a massive charge towards that first right-handed turn, and then the sharp left, of course, which is where all the trouble is caused. But it was a terrific one with Davy Sanders leading. Going with him was Arne Dierkens. Those two had a cracking start. There was a massive tangle. Veldman too got a bit tangled up, so Hermans as well. So some of the fast guys a little bit handicapped. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain were right in there with an absolutely cracking start. Etienne Bax was looking good as well. Daniel Willemsen riding high at the front again, as he always does. Number 9, Davy Sanders, though. Davy Sanders just took control from the gate, hit the first turn, and in a course like this, when it digs out with such deep ruts, and if you look, you will see there's really only one line, and everybody seems to be following it, except the left-handed sidecar of Stuart Brown, who does tend to take some wider lines when he can get the drive down, just as he did then. Alongside the number 10 of Arne Dierkens, and forced his way through, momentarily making Dierkens stop. Stuart Brown then diagonally across the ruts. That's sometimes the best thing to do, but flying through was number 5. Julian Veldman was on a mission. Winner of a qualifying race. And now here he is. Further down the order, Giraud was in the mix in 4th place. And you can see just how tight it is. Moving up quickly, the number 1 plate was Marvin van Leeuwen and Ben van den Bogart. They are masters of these conditions, although having said that, not too brilliant last year here in the Lommel sand. They finished about 5th overall, with something like a 6th and a 7th place in the 2 races. Not absolutely sure of the exact positions, but they were certainly not in the top 3. Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang, whom he inherited from Arne Dierkens. They did a complete, straightforward switch. Dierkens now has Robbie Bax, and Daniel Willemsen has got Luc Rostang. But once he was by Davy Sanders, Willemsen got his head down, using the one line round this track, the 1670 metre, deeply rutted Lommel track. Sanders then found he had Julian Veldman for company. Veldman quickly went round the outside line, managed to get the power down, and over the top of the crest of the hill, he took 2nd place from Davy Sanders. And the youngster could see Willemsen. That would be his spur, that would be his impetus to get the momentum. And now Veldman this year, as we mentioned earlier, riding the Mega 2-stroke. The other big 2-stroke engine, of course, Zabel, has been at the forefront of Sidecar Motocross for so many years, almost decades in fact. And the 4-stroke engines come from TM and Husqvarna under the AMS brand. Giraud was on one of those last year. Oh, and Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain were upside down. Well, not quite upside down, but when the bike goes over a berm like that, and you've been riding already for 10 minutes, it's amazing where your strength goes. You simply cannot get the purchase to lift the bike over. Your feet sink in the sand, and there's nothing, you've got no energy left to lift it out, and precious seconds, maybe even minutes, go ticking by while you try and extricate yourself. Van Luken and Van den Boogaard were making their way steadily through and running hard at the front. And now on the back of Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang, Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens carrying the number 5. You cannot see it from the front, but you can see it on the side and on their back. The respect they must give to this elder statesman of the sport in front, Daniel Willemsen, having won 10 world championships and is now in his early 40s and still fighting fit. Sanders battling on well, but was coming under pressure. Oh, and that was a close one. Koen Hermans had been left at the start, so he was having to work really hard to make his way up through the field. Willemsen came under an attack from Julian Veldman. Veldman got by, and the scene was set then for him to bring it all the way home to the flag, which you imagine at this point, if you were there in the moment, in the zone, he was going to do. Having said that, we have seen Veldman so close to success on so many occasions for it all to go pear-shaped. Not this time, though, it would seem. Final lap, and Veldman, having come all the way from last chance, from the back of the grid, to lead the race. You heard in his interview, he brought it from the back of the grid to a 4th or 5th place last year. Can he do it again? Well, he's done better than that. He's taken victory, and Daniel Willemsen brought it home in 2nd. But what a result for Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens.
Het is Daniel Willemsen. Daniel Willemsen, Luc Rosting in de tweede. En de Van Lukken de kant van de Boogaard. Ja, de reactie van Van Lukken. Even dat buisje gewoon naar beneden. Ja, het zal mooi zijn als Veldman even tijd dat er even in te komen voor de...
We had a really bad start. The crash with Hermans, and we nearly got last. And halfway the race, we got see Willemsen, and then we followed him, see his line, and then we passed him.
So first race of the year, great result for the first. How are you going to go for the second?
Yeah, second race will be again on the 2nd row, so it will be a fun race. Hopefully it's like this one. We can make it to a good end.
Ja, de balkuren hebben we nog niet bij. Dat doen we.
There it is confirmed. Veldman from Daniel Willemsen, Luc Rostang, Marvin van Luken and Ben van den Boogaard, 3rd place. Davy Sanders, early race leader, brought it home 4th. Valentin Giraud, brilliant ride for them in 5th. As the caption disappears, we move on to page 2. Gert van Verven, Stuart Brown recovered from that hole to 12th. A good result ahead of George Kinch, Koiben, Mulders, and they bring up the rear. But Bax, well, he didn't win, but he was there or thereabouts. After something like a 2.5 hour break, the crews have to do it all over again. The same starters, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. They know what lies ahead of them, and the circuit would have deteriorated significantly. Tension, psychology, mind games being played, more gardening, nervous reaction to what they know lies ahead.
En dan moeten we echt helemaal los in Assen.
As Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain prepared their little starting patch hard on the right-hand side, which would actually possibly favour them with their left-hand chair. Valentin Giraud and Andres Haller, in actual fact, alongside.
Dat ik vroeger hoofdzakelijk actief was in de solo motocross. Maar ik heb het straks bij Veldman verteld.
Etienne Bax and Kasper Stoupelis, 6th place in race 1. They were looking to go much, much better than that this time out, but they would need to make a good start. Not always their forte. Marvin van Lukenen, Ben van den Boogaard, reigning champions. The number is on their back. They are the target. Davy Sanders and Larry Kunas, the younger of the two Finnish brothers. Riku, his brother, rode last year, not with us this time. Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang, for so long leading race 1, only to be overhauled by the precocious youngster Julian Veldman. Koen Hermans, Nicolas Mousset, runners-up in the world last year, hence the number 2 on their bike. So, you could see how much it meant to these guys. 15 across the front row, 15 across the second row, and when the gate went down, it was an absolutely cracking charge to the first turn. It's always crucial, but Daniel Willemsen jumped into the lead and didn't really look back at that point. Arne Dierkens was with him. Old rivalries were at play there, and Bax and Stoupelis this time round were on their case. Etienne Bax and Kasper Stoupelis in their red gear behind Marvin van Lukenen and Ben van den Boogaard. But not for long. They were very quickly past the young champion. Arne Dierkens looking very, very strong indeed. Back still then behind Van Lukenen. Arne Dierkens it was that passed him. Neck and neck, but out in front, Willemsen making the most of that good start. Julian Veldman this time round had an absolute shocker. He was in 19th place on the opening lap. Would he be able to recover and do the superhuman thing a second time? Well, it would remain to be seen. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain did not have the best of starts, but sometimes their left-handed sidecar worked to their advantage. Arne Dierkens had Etienne Bax and Kasper Stoupelis right on his tail, and Bax would have to think of a way past, and find a way past he did on the inside, not quite able to make it stick, but high through the air this time. He was on the left-hand side and the move worked. Etienne Bax then was up to second and had Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang in his sights. Arne Dierkens was going with them. Davy Sanders was looking strong as well, as he had done all weekend. Larry Kunas has done a perfect job fitting in with Davy Sanders. The two have gelled completely. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain taking that customary wide line. And then there was a crash. It was Julian Veldman upended. Glenn Janssens was on the ground. Veldman would have been rushing and flying as he does to make up from his bad start, but sadly it all came to nothing. Bax, meanwhile, had assumed control at the front, so he and Kasper Stoupelis were on an absolute charge, having passed Daniel Willemsen and Luc Rostang. But Willemsen knows that consistency wins championships. He has done it so many times and just keeps on going. Marvin van Lukenen, Ben van den Boogaard, riding the ruts, in the ruts, and that certainly was the only way to ride this Lommel track. You could not plough your own furrow. You had to go on the tried and tested, and on some of the jumps there was quite a range of options. You had plenty of opportunity to pass if you could get alongside on the jumps. Stuart Brown was battling gamely on, he and Josh Chamberlain. Bearing in mind Stuart Brown's, I will say, advancing years, because he is the wrong side of 40 and he will be the first one to admit it, having been at this game a long time, won the British Championship many times and has twice been third in the world with Josh Chamberlain. So that pair, now reunited, are hoping for good things once again. Kurt Varrick, Loris Diders, who goes so well here at Lommel, and this absolutely no exception. They were pushing hard as well, and when they came along, the number 14 alongside Gert van Verven with Peter Bunk, they knew that this was another opportunity to go up a place, and it was. Kurt Varrick made the place his own, moved one more place up the ladder, and was on his way now to a very good result. Varrick eventually was to make his way up to 4th place, which would give him a very strong overall finish, and he was on the podium here overall last year. He and Loris Diders, the Latvian-Estonian pair, but it all came to nothing, sadly, for Gert van Verven, who was to retire from the proceedings. He and Peter Bunk, having ridden well in race 1, it came to nothing. But there are 13 more Grand Prix, 26 more races ahead of these guys, and they will all know that it's a very long season, and as we saw last year, unbelievable things can happen as the year unfolds. Willemsen was still battling hard, but Marvin van Leeuwen was persistent and relegated him to 3rd. Van Leeuwen going up one more place, ensuring himself of possibly the overall victory here. That will remain to be seen when they got to the end of the race, but he was doing everything he needed to do to preserve his title from 2018. This would be a very good start for Marvin van Leeuwen and Ben van den Bogart. Daniel Willemsen still going strongly. Bax now absolutely flying out in front, and Kurt Varrick, Loris Diders were on the case of the 10 times world champion. And there they were, taking that outside line in front of the packed spectator marquee. It's victory for Bax and Stupilis, and they were absolutely delighted with that, to add to their 6th place on their last lap. They know the checkered flag is in sight. 6 in race 1, victors in race 2, Bax and Stupilis. Brilliant. They've started as they mean to go on. Wonderful sunny weather here. The crowd love their Sidecarcross here in Belgium. It was 2nd place for Marvin van Leeuwen, the local boy, and Ben van den Bogart. It was 3rd place for the old master Daniel Willemsen. So they arrived back safely into the Parc Fermé, and it will be 4th for Kurt Varrick and Loris Diders, some 58 seconds of Bax's winning time. Race result, but overall result, Van Leeuwen takes the overall victory. Daniel Willemsen 2nd, Bax 3rd, he's on the podium. Varrick, Hermans, Dierkens, Valentine Giraud, all the good guys scored well. Despite a race win, Julian Veldman finished 8th overall because of that crash. Further down the order, George Kinge, Kops and Lombrechts, they were a one-off entry here, but they had a good ride in race 1. Gert van Verven, a retirement, 14 points only for him. Who brings up the back of the order? Well, Nicky de Bruyne and Junior Velhels, they're local people, boy and girl team. Crowd loved it. The sun shone, and it was a wonderful, wonderful Denicol Belgian Grand Prix.
It's very close to my home, and many people are here for us today, and we know we have a good feeling on the bike. We did a lot of training and we did a lot of preparation before the season, so we are actually prepared. And yesterday was a good day. We could win the qualifying race, and it gives us good self-confidence for today. Yeah, and then the first race, like we say in our team, it's Bak style to start the season like this. You know, it's every year something in the first race, because we are just very motivated and very happy that the season is beginning and maybe a little bit over. So yeah, that was kind of a struggle. We came back till 6, and yeah, second motor we could win with a big gap. So yeah, overall the feeling is okay, and yeah, I'm happy to be here in one piece, because last year at this first GP I broke my collarbone. So I'm happy to be here in one piece and be on the podium, and from this race we can build on to the future.
I must be happy with the second place overall. We was 2 times leading, and I felt really comfortable on this track. It's tough. Maybe for this track you need a little bit talent and experience, and I feel really good on this track, and it was really hard to keep the speed, and Luc was unfortunately not understanding where to go, and the other teams they pass us very easy, and we make some crashes a few times, and but I'm happy to have a second and a third place. Overall we are second, so it's fine, it's good, I'm happy with the result.
It's unbelievable, still unbelievable. Sandy tracks is not my favorite track, but yeah, we prepared us a lot this winter. Also last weekend we was here 2 days for training, and yeah, you see it today, it results in overall winning.
Well, that's all from here. We go to Spain for the next one. It's just a week away, Talavera de la Reina. Don't miss it, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
I dream of a path that never was and ask why not. We never stop, still going when you're finished. And even when we bleed, still believe that we can win this. We got what's underneath, you're all about that image. We never even stop at the top, no limits. Champions, we're champions, and we're the champions, and we're the champions. So bring it on.
Williamson is 10 times the world champion. Bax and Stupilis, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Leeuwen certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable.
Denicol lubricants are the proud general partner of the Belgian Grand Prix.